Okay, it's Toby from Heavyweight MMA, today with Justin Vanheerden from Freestyle MMA. How are you, bro?
Good, bro. Good. Everything's going swell on my end. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good too, man. I'm good. Man, what happened to the beard, bro? I was looking forward to giving you shit about the Dagestani beard you were sporting for a while there.
Yeah, no, I was there for a minute, and then just fucking made. Well, as soon as the fight was kind of, I guess, locked in, and I was back sort of to being in camp, I just went, got rid of everything and just got stuck back
Get it
in.
out there. That's it, man. So fighting on Hex 30 against Michael Barber in Auckland, New Zealand, man. How you feeling about that one? Ready to rock and roll?
Yeah, excited to get back in there. Excited to get back to doing what I, like to do, and sort of I think what I'm meant to do. So, no, I'm excited to just be fighting again. It'll be the first time sort of fighting overseas. First time going to New Zealand, so yeah, lots of cool things to look forward to.
Yeah, I had that noted down, man. Like fighting in New Zealand, it's kind of cool, right? Like you guys are affiliated with CKB. You've trained with quite a few of the lads from over there that visit you. Now you get the chance to go over to New Zealand. Are you going to spend a bit of time there too, or just fight and get out of there?
Yeah, I'm gonna try and see about spending a couple of days there and sort of because I got some friends and family and stuff over there as well. So I'd like to, but obviously it's just going to depend on circumstance and stuff. Obviously, um, I plan on getting back to my usual ways of being super active. So it might just be a case of get in, get out, get back to work.
Yeah, that's a shame, man, because it's a beautiful place to see. A couple of hours drive up the coast is really nice, man. I went there recently, went up to Bay of Islands, super beautiful, beautiful part of the world to drive around. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a place that I've for sure needed want to check out and want to take the time to kind of go everywhere and see everything and just soak it all in. So it's definitely on the list, whether it's going to be this time around or maybe later in the year if I just sort of go over there and kick back a bit and enjoy it. Obviously the ideal way to check it out, be able to stop in a few places, have a couple of beers, eat a lot of pies, do all that sort of stuff. So yeah, we'll see.
Man, on CKB and that, you guys are fortunate, or both sides are fortunate that you guys cross-train quite a bit. I've seen different things posted with you guys training with Blood Diamond. I've seen Izzy down there, amongst other guys. Man, how do you find that? It must be a good thing for building up your guys' skill set.
Yeah, 100%. Anytime we get, I guess you get access to any sort of different look or different type of training partner with different skill sets, it's always going to be a benefit. Obviously, when you're training with your core group of people, you're obviously making those improvements and you're grinding daily. But it is cool to kind of mix it up with people you don't normally get to train with, you don't normally get to spar with, and kind of have a new problem to solve. And then also, I think it kind of gives you a fresh look on where your skill set matches up with sort of different sort of styles as well. Because obviously, when I'm sparring some of the boys or moving around with some of the boys that I don't often get to move around with, it's it gives you that new look because you got a fresh approach for what problems they're throwing your way, and you're like, okay, I've got to kind of utilize different skills and stuff like that. And at the same time, they don't know what to expect from your end, and and then there's that sort of chess game that comes back to it as well, which is always cool, and that leads to those sort of improvements. So obviously, anytime the boys come over or anyone from from the team comes over and we get to move around, it's always going to be something that I'm going to jump at. So no, it's been really cool.
How do you find your skill set, bro? When you're training with fresh guys, how do you feel you are, bro? You feel like it's all good, you're training in the exactly the right way, or do you pick up things that you need to work on?
It's a combination of both. I've definitely, especially, I mean, a lot of the people that you're sort of going to be moving around with, and a lot of the people that come from CKB and stuff like that, a lot of the time have an extensive background outside of MMA in a different sort of combat sport, right? So for example, Bloods, when I move around with Bloods on the feet and we're there doing sort of work like that, I'm really getting a, sort of a high level look in that sort of one area. And then I can also then apply the other skills I have and use my skill set to try and sort of dictate the rounds and kind of, see where I can find success. And so that is kind of a cool thing too. But I feel like whenever I sort of move around with anyone, especially someone that I don't really normally get to move around with or sort of get that day-to-day training and grind with, I always do get a boost of okay, here's some areas where I can still strive to improve in because, this person's given me a good look and I'm like, okay, I need to figure some things out to sort of problem solve and deal with that. But then at the same time, I get that confirmation where you're like, my skill set matches up quite well and I can compete with world-class people.
Yeah, man, it's a training with people that you train all the time won't exactly cut it all the time because they know the way you move, the way they move, you kind of cancel each other out a bit. When you're with the fresh guys, you can also like pull off your tricks and stuff like that other people, the normal guys will know are coming, right? So it's kind of fun.
Yeah, exactly. You kind of, when you're grinding out daily, you have those little things and little tricks that you're looking out for from each person that you move around with, and then it kind of it gets up. But then at the same time, that leads you to sort of develop new things and step out of your comfort zone a little bit, and you kind of pick from what they're using that's successful, and you kind of try and apply that to your game. So, for example, someone like Seb, when he's got that real clean karate style blitzes in and out, and I've kind of added a few little things that he utilizes that's part of his sort of style and applied it to my game, and I'm trying to utilize that to use that to find success and set up things that I like to do. So it's that trade-off, right? You just got to find a way to still look to improve, see what you can apply, see what you got to step out of your comfort zone whenever you're sort of learning new things. But yeah, it is sort of that point, right? You get to the point where you're kind of like, oh, I know what you're trying to do, but I'm not going to let you do it. Like, get away from me. I'm not letting that happen.
Yeah, man. And so this fight, bro, is on Hex this time. You've been with Eternal for some time, moving over to Hex. Ideally, I mean, in my mind and probably most people's mind, it would be good for you to be fighting Abdallah. It's not happening for one reason or another. Now you're fighting Michael Barber. Do you still feel as motivated as you would have when you're fighting Abdallah, if you were fighting Abdallah?
Yeah, like I kind of said, I've sort of touched on, I'm taking this fight as serious as I take all my fights. Like, in my mind, I'm fighting a guy that's coming off, two wins and who's changed completely and, is vastly improved from the first time we fought. So I'm certainly not like looking at it as a sort of fight where I don't need to get motivated or anything like that. Like, I'm grinding as much as I do for all my fights. Like, I'm preparing to go out there and, fight the best Michael Barber that we've seen to date. And, as for the fight with Abdallah, I mean, like, that's completely outside of my mind. Like, I made peace with that, the fact that that fight didn't come to fruition. And I tried on my end multiple times to make that fight happen. Like, it's never been a case of me not wanting to make the fight happen. It's always just been out of my control. So as far as I'm concerned, it's out of sight and out of mind, and especially going into this fight. Like, I'm not even thinking about him at all. It's like, I couldn't care less. And even in my mind, I've said this already, fighting him now is a step backwards for me. It's not a step forward. It doesn't do anything for me anymore. So I don't really care. My focus is on Michael Barber, who's coming into this fight, looking to put me away and kind of, take that momentum that I've built up and stuff like that. Like, this is my third rematch in a row, but I'm on the other end now, right, where I'm the guy that got the victory in the first fight. So I know what his mentality is going to be. I know how he's going to approach the fight. I know what I got coming my way. So I've been, preparing as hard as I always do for these fights, and I'm coming in there expecting an absolute scrap from Michael and his team. Like, I feel like they're gonna, be coming in there to put me away. That's how he fights. Like, he doesn't come in there to mess around and point fight. The dude comes in there to try and put you away.
Yeah, man. So you guys fought back in 2021. What new things or what areas do you think you've improved most since then, or during your downtime in the last year between fights, bro? Like, what have you picked up?
I think I've realistically improved across the board. But I mean, certainly compared to the first fight, the biggest improvement, or I guess the more striking improvement, the striking's improved tremendously. Because when I first fought him, that was early in my transition to freestyle. I pretty much was just a guy that was wrestling and just getting my work done with my wrestling and the grappling. And the striking hadn't been something that I'd had that focus on or had that improvement in like I did with the other sort of skills that I have. But now, obviously, the years that I've been at freestyle, I feel like I've gotten my striking to that high level that my grappling and wrestling was already at, and I'm continuing to improve across the board. But I certainly feel like being objective about it, that's the layer that I feel like is completely different from the first fight. The biggest sort of thing to add in going into this one is like obviously my striking's vastly better than what it was, and that's just a complete credit to the work that Joe's done with me over the years that I've been there. And if you look at my fights up until this point and the run that I'm on, I feel like I'm improving fight to fight, and I'm showing those improvements fight to fight, because it is still that same sort of desire for me to improve and do it across the board. Like even my wrestling and my grappling, I feel like is vastly better than what it was. And then I have someone with the knowledge and ability to sort of apply that to me as an individual fighter and kind of mold me into sort of what I could be moving forward. So, I feel like I've improved tremendously across the board, especially in this time off, because I've been training the entire time, and I've been a body for everyone else that's had fights coming up, Bulk, Colby, Amina, Jarrett, Seb, everyone that's been grinding. Like I've been in there with them, trying to give them the best possible look I can and sort of continuing to improve. So I certainly feel like I've hit new levels, and I'm excited to kind of go out there and showcase it.
Nice, man. I didn't mention before, we said about the CKB lads, etc. What about the Craig Jones effect, bro? I've seen him down there a bit grappling. You're already a grappler, but has he added a few tricks into your game as well?
Yeah, 100%, man. Like the guy comes in here and just, bullies everyone and just beats the shit out of us. But it's kind of cool because obviously his knowledge when it comes to grappling and his just sort of base for the sport is so ridiculous. So it's kind of, you can't help but get those little things out every time he's here and sort of apply it to your game. So there's certainly a bunch of things that, he's shown over, especially the last year, that I've kind of looked at a few bits and pieces and gone, oh, okay, that's something I'm going to start using. And then once it starts sort of clicking in your game, you go, okay, now I can really use this for an MMA sort of setting and potentially either finish a fight or shift the momentum of a fight tremendously because I'm, applying these sort of techniques. Because it's all stuff that works, right? Like it's all MMA specific sort of stuff that's going to work. Like, you're seeing it at the highest level. You saw it in Volk's fight with Islam, with being able to sort of negate his wrestling and grappling and, get back to those positions where we're strong. So I feel like the proof's there that it works at the highest level in the sport. So I know if I apply it to my game and I use it successfully, it's going to do the same.
Man, just a bit of a silly question, but Craig Jones, I've seen him throw a punch, I think, down there. It was looking pretty average, bro. How do you reckon his jiu-jitsu with him fighting would do against someone who's, I guess, MMA guy, like striking involved as well? Do you think his jiu-jitsu would play into an MMA fight?
If he immediately runs out there and shoots a low single or gets a hold of him, and if he gets a hold of people, like they're fucked. You got next to no chance of stopping him if he gets a hold of you. But if you can get that Derek Lewis style uppercut or a big overhand or a big kick up the middle or something, I reckon, he's obviously it's not going to be good for him. But if he gets a hold of you, you're just done. But he's a pretty big guy. I think people don't really realize he's like a pretty big dude. Like he's not small. So it'd be interesting to see. I'd certainly watch it. I mean, if I could have it my way, I'd put him against someone like Alex Pereira so I can watch him get a leg kicked and fall over and feel pain, because that would do me. That'd make me very happy. But at the same time, I feel like if he gets a hold of you, it's a wrap.
I like to see him fight Gordon Ryan in an MMA match with striking. That'd just be cool. Even if they didn't train any striking, just get in there and have a go.
I think I'd pay a big amount of money to watch something like that play out.
Yeah. Bro, just jumping back, I know you'd said it's right out of your mind, Abdallah Biayda, but, before I was watching that guy, I just felt like he's a scary guy. Like, if I was fighting MMA and I was matched against him, I'd just be kind of, in my mind, I was thinking that he'd be a difficult, like a pretty awesome opponent. But when I think about your skill set against his, I feel like that, they say styles make fights. I think your style will shut him down completely. That's just my feeling. I feel like you catch him against the cage, you drag his toothpick legs down, it's all over, man. I feel like your style would do really well against him. Do you feel that way?
Yeah, he's obviously, I think he built that. There's obviously this sort of veil of like him being like this boogeyman in the division. And he's certainly very talented and uses his natural. He's got very, God-given natural attributes that work well for fighting. Right, he's tall, he's long. He's got good dexterity in his legs, so he uses his kicks well, he uses his range well. And I feel like he's obviously he's got some solid skills and some solid talent. But I do think a lot of the success he's had in fights has come off like what you said, where people were just like apprehensive and worried, and on the kind of on the back foot, allowing him to come forward and do his thing. And in the fights where people didn't do that, you saw he didn't have much success, and those are the fights that he lost. So with this fight with Diego was more than happy to stand there and engage with him, and kind of didn't just go backwards and let him kind of do his best work. And then eventually, got a hold of him, transitioned to the leg, and then was able to put him away with a heel hook. And then in the fight with Harry, obviously, you kind of saw that, right? In the start of the fight, he was pushing forward, using his range, using his, throwing some solid strikes. And he's obviously caught Harry at one stage when he had that, that momentum going forward. But then, Harry kind of found his feet, found his rhythm. And then, relied on the fact that Abdallah just pushes forward, and was able to, just plant that solid combination on him and put him away. And I feel like, that's a good sort of fight IQ from Harry, and a good, obviously, breakdown from his team to kind of see that like, you can't, obviously you got to respect people's skills and abilities when you're getting in there, but you can't ever be in a fight with someone and be like worried and apprehensive and backing away like that. Like you can't do that. Like if you deal with anyone, you're going to have a bad night. You could be fighting, you could be levels better than someone, and on paper you should run through this person. But if you give them too much respect, or you come in there and you're a bit sort of deer in headlights and a bit worried, you're going to get caught and you're going to get put away. I mean, the examples are endless in MMA when we see that. We saw it on the weekend at 300 with Jamal Hill. He just looked like worried the entire time, and then eventually, got caught. And I feel like a lot of Abdallah's opponents, that's kind of what happened. They kind of let him get the momentum, and then they just never found themselves switching on in the fight and, playing their game. They just kind of got sucked into what he wants to do, and then he was able to do his work. And obviously, look at the guy, he's big, he's tall, he's long. If he catches you on the end of his punches and his kicks, like, it's not going to be fun for you. So, I feel like stylistically, I'm a bad matchup for him. I'm a horrible matchup for him. I feel, because I have a well-rounded skill set, right? I feel like I have the tools on the feet to negate his ability to just kind of play his game. And then whether it's something that like you acknowledge, like he acknowledges or his team acknowledges, you have to be worried about the wrestling the whole time, because the second you slip up, I'm going to get a hold of you. And if I get a hold of you, like, I'm pretty confident I can finish the fight. Because there is that, I feel like there is that discrepancy there. Obviously, he's shown fight to fight that he's made those improvements. And like, even in the fight with Sam, he was in a pretty deep triangle and was able to kind of stay safe, eventually find a way out and then kind of do his thing. But it's just, the time it would take to do and have an answer for everything that I present, especially in that area, it's not realistic.
Yeah, true, bro. But I think it's a fight people want to see. I hope that you're successful in this fight against Michael Barber, and then that one comes to fruition. It'd be good to see, man. Look forward to it. Bro, just one thing that popped into my head listening to an interview. You're talking about Dricus du Plessis versus Izzy. I was just thinking, like, who are you backing on that one, bro? Who would you back? It's kind of a bit tricky. You got some affiliation with CKB, but you got some affiliation with South Africa. So, who would you back in that fight?
Yeah, up until recently, I'd probably just be kind of neutral about it. But yeah, some things recently that have kind of come to mind, and a few things I've seen Dricus say in a few chats and that, especially in regards to when Ilya fought and beat Volk and stuff like that. It just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. So if that fight happens and they fight each other in August, I'll be rocking with Izzy to go out there and do his thing and get his belt back. I mean, it's cool that we have a South African champion, and it's good for South African MMA, and it's definitely a boost for the sport in the country. And I don't want to wish any ill will on anyone, but it's just at the moment, I don't know. I'm not rocking with that dude, so I couldn't really care less about seeing him go out there and do his thing.
Fair enough, bro. But yeah, good for the country too. Get a bit more popularity over in South Africa. It's a good thing, man. Thanks for your time. Really looking forward to your fight over in New Zealand against Michael Barber, bro. Yeah, and looking forward to you showing your skills again and doing so to get you towards the big games, bro. I want to see you up in the spotlight in UFC eventually. Best of luck in this fight. Best of luck in the next coming fights in 2024, man. And we'll see you soon.
Thank you, bro. It's always good to talk to you.
Cool. Thanks, brother. Cheers. I'll probably post tomorrow. I think if I can edit it tonight. Cool.
Yeah, no, sounds good. Whenever, I'll be ready to share it around.
Nice. All right, man. Thanks for your help. Cheers, bro. Take it easy.
Thanks.
I'll be watching.
Yeah, look forward to it.
All right, see you, bro. I got to run. I just had a call I got to catch from work. Yeah.